Oh, yes. So, the trouble with Jonathan Majors, something did actually happen. And it's all listed in this article. So, this past September, a group of Marvel executives, including Chief Kevin Feige, assembled in Palm Springs for the studio's annual retreat. Most years, the vibe would have been confident, even cocky, given how the premier superhero brand owned by Disney had remade the entertainment business in its image. But this occasion was angst-ridden. Everyone at Marvel was reeling from a series of disappointments on screen. A legal scandal with one of its biggest stars manufactured. And that's obviously Jonathan Majors. So the most pressing to be discussed at the retreat was what to do about Jonathan Majors, the actor who had been poised to carry the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but instead is headed to a high-profile trial in New York later this month on domestic violence charges. The actor insists he is the victim, but the damage to his reputation and the chance he could lose the case has forced Marvel to reconsider its plan to center the next phase of its interlocking slate of sequels, spin-offs, and series around Majors' villainous character Kang the Conqueror. And so this is part of it, right? So they say at the gathering in Palm Springs, executives discuss backup plans, including pivoting to another comic book adversary like Doctor Doom. But making any shift would carry its own headache. Majors was already a big presence in the MCU, including as the scene-stealing antagonist in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then the division Loki.
Because that's what he was.
Completely agreed. And then they talk about he's positioned. There's the last season of Loki finale now. There's going to be an issue with that as well. And then we have this. A top deal maker says Marvel's truly fucked with the whole Kang angle. And they haven't had an opportunity to rewrite until recently because of the strike, but I don't see a path to how they can come forward. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. What do we think? What do we think about this whole situation with Kang and the fact that they were pretty quick to discuss swapping him? I mean, they should have gone with Doctor Doom to begin with because they were going to introduce the Fantastic Four, right? I don't understand why, there wasn't the thought to go, yeah, actually, what we'll do is, why did they jump straight to Kang as opposed to, a more sort of ground level as Doctor Doom? That should have always been the case. And they screwed themselves there. Well, what do we think? Doctor Doom? Because there's still the potential that they're going to. Still, maybe, somehow.
Well, the latest thing we're hearing is that they had already been thinking about how to get away from Kang. And Doom was one of the plausibilities. But I'm worried because the last time they had talked about Doctor Doom before recent events, we had heard that it was probably going to be Victoria Von Doom. And now we're also hearing that the Fantastic Four is going to be the Fantastic Four ladies. Because we all know we want Melissa McCarthy as the Thing.
Man.
Or Leslie Jones, one of the two, But at this point, I agree with you, Nate. Doctor Doom seemed to be the logical next big bad to go to after Thanos. Like I said, I mean, why are we not getting into Doctor Doom and Magneto? Like, those are your two big, most well-known bad guys in the Marvel Universe, hands down. And there's clobbering times in the chat. He'll tell you that. It's like, why are we not there? This is redonkulous. We're 15 years into the Marvel Universe and we still haven't got Doctor Doom yet.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? Like, you're going to be bringing in the Fantastic Four anyway. The perfect scenario is to bring in Doctor Doom alongside them and then build towards that and then build towards a bigger threat further down the line. To jump straight to this multiversal shite with Kang is just nonsense to me, from Thanos to that. Like, what? Build it up, bring it back. Build it up, bring it back. That's what they should have done, in my eyes.
The multiverse works for one movie, Spider-Man No Way Home. That's it.
Yeah, agreed. Literally just that. Agreed. Culture, you look like you want to jump in on this, mate.
My thoughts are Kang was a terrible choice for a big bad guy.
Nobody was familiar with him. They didn't try to introduce him well in anything. They tried to rush his development in TV shows, which, again, homework that most of your audience isn't going to have time to do or be interested in doing. And then, resting on top of all of that is the fact that it's a manufactured star, as you mentioned. And it rests on a faulty premise that everybody was tired of already. Time travel, multiverse. Tom was 100% right with that. I can't imagine this phase 5 surviving anywhere close to what Kevin Feige was trying to make it exist as. I anticipate we'll be getting Doctor Doom or something similar. I think you're going to get a character that more aligns with characters they haven't ruined yet. And that's why, they could go for Fantastic Four or X-Men.
Why didn't they bring Doctor Doom in during the whole shit with Black Panther? Because wasn't that all about like different countries and relations? Like that's kind of the whole interesting thing about Doctor Doom is that he's got diplomatic immunity because he's the Prince of Latveria or whatever. Andre, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, like the king or
prince. I can't remember which.
Well, he's a regent, whatever he is. He's a regent of Latveria.
Yeah, so he's a monarch. So he's a very interesting bad guy, and same thing with Magneto, right? And more so just because he's more of an anti-bad guy or whatever you want to call him, or an anti-villain.
He's anti-hero.
I call Magneto more of an anti-villain because he's still a bad guy at heart, but sometimes he's right. They painted him a bit more nicer in the X-Men movies than he is in the comics, from my understanding and memory.
But the the article goes further and says, "Will that solve blah 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 blah?" It goes on to say about this whole thing. Disney executives insisted that they could afford to play a waiting game, given that the Avengers Kang Dynasty wasn't expected to begin shooting until blah blah blah. But then Majors was dropped in quick succession by his publicists and managers. He remains a client with WME, the agency where he landed after CAA parted ways with him, pre-arrest. And this is what they say, apparently, for his brutal conduct towards staff, says one source. CAA declined to comment on an official basis. But apparently Jonathan Majors was dropped from CAA pre-arrest. But obviously, they use the arrest as ammunition as well, because we can drop you because of this bad conduct, what's about to happen. Apparently, he was dropped for brutal conduct towards staff.
That does not sound good. That's just another accusation, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. Massively. It goes hand in hand with what had come out. The moment the headlines hit, the floodgates opened with people going, "Yep, knew he did this. Yeah, knew he did that. Yeah." But Doctor Doom
won't seem too surprised.
Doctor Doom is definitely what they should have done, rather than build to this bizarre.
That's what I don't get, because Kang is he has such a ridiculous power level that you can get away with it in a comic where you don't have to really think things through. But why the hell would you ever do Kang in live action? I mean, and to me, that was never going to work.
Yeah, it's such a weird. Well, I mean, look, it's an underwhelming pivot. Anyway, you go from Thanos to Kang. The results speak for themselves. People aren't interested in it. So,
yeah, no, and what really gets to me is the decision-making process behind it. Basically, Kevin Feige bought into the hype. Everyone told him that, oh, this guy is so amazing. He's the hottest thing ever. The industry has totally decided, oh, let's hire him then. And wow, he did a clown so amazing. We're going to now build the entire face around him. I mean, if Ike Perlmutter had been there, he would never have allowed that.
No, you're right. You're completely right there.
And for just to make clear, I don't mean he wouldn't have allowed it because he's black. That's not what I mean. I mean he wouldn't have allowed anyone on such frivolous a foundation. He didn't even allow Robert Downey Jr. He wanted a proof of concept. He wanted to know that this was going to work. And it was only after Jon Favreau was able to deliver proof this is going to work. Look at the hype when I leaked this to the press. That's when he was like, all right, I'll sign off on it. There was actually a control process. There's been that. But Kang was never subject to anything. There was no open casting call or something. They basically cast this guy and did the whole thing around him.
Yeah, well, they did it on a whim as well. Like, it was all completely a whim. It's like, he was pretty well received in Loki. Let's just do that. What? It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Bizarre stuff.